경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
Wildfires. The wildfires have been raging on for almost a week, and these fires have become a growing threat. Damages are mounting, both human casualties plus property damage, to one of the most destructive fires on record. But as the climate and these fires are changing rapidly, the country's firefighting system may still be stuck in the past. Investment in firefighting capabilities. This is so crucial to save lives and protect people's livelihoods. And really, can it ever be too much? I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Friday, the 27th of March on BEFM, 부산영어방송. Good morning, wavers. It's our favorite day, Friday. I wish we could be full-heartedly happy. Of course, any Friday is good, but the thing is this. These ongoing wildfires, really devastating. And I think they've been a stark wake-up call on how destructive these types of disasters can be. And we're talking about one of the most destructive fires ever, with 36,009 hectares of forest burned down. The biggest in terms of forest destruction. And the thing is this. The flames are still burning and even spreading. We've talked about the need for more specialized personnel and equipment to keep our firefighters safe. Experts call for a boost in the budget, especially to replace the aged helicopters, some of which have been in operation for almost 30 years. And, one that fell, while on duty, killing the pilot, that was definitely an older helicopter. And experts say that firefighting forces need to be more specialized and systematic, kind of like the military. And this would also require legal mandates for local governments to have the minimum level of firefighting personnel and equipment, especially areas that have larger mountains and forests. Other experts say that the country's firefighting efforts should concentrate more on the ground efforts to form more specialized forces with better equipment. Our previous perception was that, spring and fall were wildfire-prone times, but once again, this seems to be kind of expanding to basically across the entire year. Times are rapidly changing, and the current method of putting fires out as a pop-up just won't cut it anymore. We really need systemic preventive measures. We need better equipment, and we need our firefighters to be better protected, don't you think? So that's our overall theme today. However, it is time for our text topic. Are you ready? It is definitely spring. So, question is this. Do you do spring cleaning? Ooh. Assuming that you do, share with us. Give us your best cleaning and organizing tips. 자, 봄맞이 대청소 보통 하시는지? That's question number 1. 질문 하는 거고요. 그다음에 여러분의 청소 정리 팁도 한번 보내주시면 제가 I will 널리 알려드릴게요. I will share with you other people's tips because I have a few tips, but many of you know by now I'm not a great cleaner. I'm just I cook, but I'm not really great at cleaning. So maybe I can learn from you, right? For example, maybe it's because I'm not so great at cleaning. Other members of my family, they step up. They're really great at it. So I have a few tips that they use and I try to follow. I'll be sharing those throughout the program. So you can send in your best tips or ideas. Send them into BFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. So go to the YouTube platform and you can type in BEFM 부산영어방송 to find our channel. So subscribe. You can log in and chat with our other waivers. Also, on your phone, pound 9050 샵 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. You can also reach me for free through our Kakao Talk, our account as well. So type in BEFM to find us. And the ways you can listen to our program, 90.5 or 103.3 FM on the radio. If you're in Busan, like I said, we're streaming live right now on YouTube. You can watch again at your leisure. And then we have our BFM app, our Patbang app as well. Well, we're available on the Patbang app. It's not ours, but you can listen to the Waga Waga segment on the latter app. Looking ahead to our Friday morning together, we have Casey with Foreign Press Highlights and Vasana coming up in hour number 2 for What in the World. For our special interview, this is kind of like the big question these days. When will the court rule on the impeachment of President Yoon Suk-yeol? We want to know. Because like this whole martial law declaration issue, I mean, it's been kind of like looming like a dark cloud over South Korea. So we are looking towards getting a decision. When will that be? And we will also look into the ramifications of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo as well, plus President Yoon Suk-yeol. That's coming up in hour number 2. And I'll be back with today's headlines. It's now 7:06. These are today's headlines. Wildfire death toll rises as government designates additional special disaster zones. Firefighters are struggling to contain the country's worst ever wildfires, with the death toll rising to 28, according to the latest official figures. Prosecutors appeal Lee Jae-myung's case to Supreme Court. The Seoul Central Prosecutor's Office yesterday filed a final appeal to the Supreme Court regarding the not guilty verdict for Democratic Party chair Lee Jae-myung. Government plans emergency response to Trump's auto tariffs. The South Korean government will put forth emergency measures to protect the domestic auto industry after U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to impose 25% tariffs on foreign-made auto imports starting April 2nd. North Korea's Kim Jong-un to visit Russia this year. Foreign press outlets have reported that preparations are underway for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to Russia this year, citing Moscow's deputy foreign minister. U.S. allies threaten retaliation against Trump's auto tariffs. Governments, including Germany, Canada, France, and the UK, have voiced condemnations of U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs on car and car part imports, with several threatening retaliatory action. And these are today's headlines. Time for Busan Updates. We have Sue in the studio. Let's first say hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, so it's that day, our favorite day, right? Yes, collectively. But first, I want to know from you. I know that you got a place on your own recently. So maybe, is this your first spring cleaning?
Yeah, you're right. Definitely, yes.
So like traditionally, when you lived abroad or with your family, like were you really heavily into the spring cleaning? Like, do you partake in that?
Well, like, I hate to admit that I'm a last minute person. And sometimes with my family, I had to do it.
Yes.
Or sometimes like I would be reminded, it's time to clean out your closet and everything. So if you're like me, I have a tip Like
you do?
need a strong determination, strong will to get it done.
Okay.
And also you need good music to get going.
Good music. That's
Yeah.
so true, though. Because, to fill that void, right. I mean, so my family members, especially my roommate, he is like a neat freak. Every Sunday is spring cleaning for us. No, I'm serious.
Okay.
I think it takes a total of 3 hours to clean the house
wow.
on Sunday. Our family dreads Sundays. Because that means we have to do a deep cleaning from top to bottom.
Right.
Right. And then but for the real specific spring cleaning, he even pulls out the refrigerator and then
Wow.
gets all the dust bunnies out and then pushes the refrigerator back and he moves all of the furniture literally too.
Oh my goodness! Wow, he's super
피곤해요.
organized.
네.
But I
진짜 피곤해요.
understand you have some cats, right? So
I mean, but he vacuums every day,
Right,
because of the
right, yeah.
cats. But then he wants to do the deep cleaning.
yeah.
Anyhow, we're going to jump into our first update. So Busan's iconic tourist attraction, 자갈치 market street vendors, they're going to be shedding, their illegal status and operate legally now.
When you visit Nampo-dong, you can't miss 자갈치 market, which is a large seafood market.
Yes.
But the place is also associated with illegal road occupation by street stalls. To solve this, 자갈치 아지매 market was established as part of the 자갈치 Seafood Landmark Project in order to provide seafood sales facilities for the street vendors and enhance food hygiene and safety. And also road expansion work will be carried out to improve traffic efficiency as well.
Well, this is really something we need to know because 자갈치 market, it's such an iconic spot in Busan. So we need further details on this.
Yes. The Busan city government spent 23.5 billion won, 235억, since 2014 to build the 자갈치 아지매 market, consisting of 2 3-story buildings with 220 vendor spaces. So 아지매 is dialect for woman.
Yes.
So a store placement lottery system will be used to allocate stores with applications accepted in early April, and the draw will be held mid-April. Approved vendors will begin operating from the end of June. They will lease spaces ranging from 4.42 square meters, 1.34평, to 11.49 square meters, 3.48평, with monthly fees between 530,000 won and 1.78 million won. Existing vendors are restricted to one store each, and businesses can only be passed down to direct family members. The market will be managed by the Busan Facilities Corporation, 부산시설공단.
I see. So it does sound like they're really trying to revitalize that local commercial district. So hopefully this will help the vendors and, of course, people who visit the market as well. Next up, let's talk about our city, Busan City, recruiting applicants for the second quarter of the year for their newlywed housing loan and interest support program.
The support program has been implemented since 2020 to alleviate the housing cost burden for newlyweds and create a marriage and childbirth-friendly environment. And it is for newlywed couples without housing. So far, the program has supported 3,880 households. The eligible applicants are newly couples married within the last 7 years or prospective newlywed couples planning to marry within the next 3 months. They need to be registered residents of the city as well.
I see. And so it seems that the city has raised the criteria for eligibility for this program. So we need to hear about this too.
Some changes were made last October. The combined annual income of the couple has been increased from 80 million won to 130 million won. The housing deposit limit has been raised from 300 million won to 400 million won. The price has gone up because they aim to increase participation from dual income newlywed couples and allow them to choose from a wider range of housing options.
Yes.
In addition, the program offers interest rate subsidies of up to 2% per year, with a maximum of 4 million won in interest support per year for 2 years. And this is extendable up to 10 years. And Busan Bank will provide housing deposit loans, 임차 보증금, up to 200 million won. And Korea Housing Finance Corporation guarantees 100% of the loan amount. And applications for the program can be submitted via the Busan Bank mobile banking app. And the deadline is by April 10th. And in the second quarter, a total of 400 households will be selected to receive support.
Yes.
For detailed information, it can be found on the city's website under notices and announcements.
Oh, yes. So if you fall into this category, you might want to try for this one. So thank you for that information. Next up, our city is launching a small business restructuring support program. So tell us more about this.
According to the Statistics Korea Economic Activity Survey, in February this year, there were only 294,000 self-employed people in Busan, showing a steady decline for 3 years in a row. Small business owners often take over a year to close their businesses due to costs and finding ways to support themselves afterward.
Sure.
And so there is a need for quick and safe support for closing down and re-employment. And this year, the city will offer comprehensive services for small business owners closing their businesses. The consulting service will be free on getting advice on the entire shutting down process, including tax and legal consultations for business owners planning to close.
Sure.
The city will cover 200,000 won per pyong for store demolition and restoration, with a maximum support of 4 million won. To assist with re-employment, the city will offer job training and provide a 500,000 won employment incentive per person upon completion of the training.
I see. Well, we do need to know about the eligibility for the closure cost support.
The support is available to small business owners who have either closed their businesses after January 1st this year or planning to close soon. Eligible businesses must have an annual revenue of 200 million won or less. Additionally, at least 500,000 won must cost for closing their business. Once selected, businesses must complete the demolition within 3 months.
Yes.
And for more details, you can check with the Busan Small Business Comprehensive Support Center via their call center or visit their website. And the application period started yesterday and will close once the budget is exhausted.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, let's move on to our next item. So we're going to be talking about 20 representative footwear companies from Busan who have come together to showcase and promote their products. And we need to remember, like, looking back on Busan history, we used to be like the capital for footwear. So this is really important. Tell us about this.
The event is taking place at City Hall's Citizens Plaza, and it started yesterday and will end today. It's organized to help Busan's footwear companies, which are facing tough times due to a global market slump. At the event, 20 local footwear brands are selling products like trekking shoes, sneakers, safety shoes, and running shoes at great prices.
Yes.
Plus, if you make a purchase, you might get a free gift like cushion slippers, depending on how much you spend. And the event will also feature fun activities like a walking analysis experience, a design your own shoes workshop, and a photo session with the city's mascot, Boogie.
Oh, Boogie. So popular, of course. So thank you for sharing this information. We're going to get to our final segment, final item, actually. It's regarding the 8th Gangseol Nakdonggang River Samsimli Cherry Blossom Festival. This is obviously in Busan, but it's been postponed by a week. And why is this?
Because of the wildfires happening. So many festivals have been canceled.
Yes.
The festival was originally scheduled to start this weekend, but it will now be held from April 4th to 6th.
Good to know, just in case you were thinking about heading out, listeners. So thank you for all the updates. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll check in with you on Monday. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Everybody, this was Sue with Busan Updates. And now here is your traffic and weather. here's your traffic report. It looks congested in multiple areas around the city. First up, on the Dongso overpass from Bumnagor ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. Also, on Nakdongdaero from Gwaejong to Hadan intersection. It's also slow moving on Haeundaero from the Wondong interchange to Jaesongdong three-way intersection in both directions. And also heavy traffic on Chungjangdaero from Chungangdong intersection to Chungjang overpass. As for the weather, it's currently 10 degrees Celsius here in Busan under cloudy skies. The sun is expected to make an appearance in the afternoon with a daytime high going up to 14 degrees. So the morning lows are about 10 degrees colder right now than yesterday in most regions. So please take care of your health this morning. Looking at the weather for the weekend, tomorrow you can expect a low of 4 degrees Celsius, a high of 13, and on Sunday a low of 1 and a high of 11. It seems like we're going to have clear skies for the weekend. This was your traffic and weather.
Are you an early bird? Are you up to date on the news? Are you a trendsetter? For all of the biggest issues from Busan to the world and useful information you need, right here on Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time for News Digest. We have Haley in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Did I miss the stripe notice, the memo?
Well, I saw that you wore stripes a couple days ago. So I was
you're
like,
like, it's
I'm safe. I'm good. We're good.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Hey, so do you do spring
Pass.
cleaning?
What do you think?
I asked it real tentatively.
I know.
I
I
was
know.
just like, 혹시?
My tip is very confidently and very shamelessly
Yes.
don't. And then
Don't.
someone else will do it for you.
그러면 헤일리 씨가 안 하면 누가 할까요? Your parents?
I don't care. I'm just so ungrateful. 그냥 당당하게, 뻔뻔하게 안 하고 있으면 누군가가 someone else. So then our producers, 좋은 팁이다. And I'm like, yeah.
For me, look at me. I printed out like pages.
Are those your tips?
왜냐면 실제로 청소를 잘 안 해서. 그래도
but you tried?
뭔가를 I tried.
At least you pretend to try.
I pretend to try.
Oh, I mean, I'm so. Oh my God, I'm so beyond that. I'm so beyond
You're like,
even
no,
pretending. I'm like,
no
mom,
spring cleaning.
mom, we've been through this for the past decade or so. Let's
Yes.
not. But then, there's one thing I do.
Yes.
One.
One.
I am so good with cleaning the bathroom after I shower. Get one of those. Not sponsored by squeegees.
Oh, yeah.
The little mops with the blades.
Yeah.
Because bathroom mold is disgusting,
Gross.
but it happens because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
shower there, presumably. So after you're done, just wipe the walls and the floor. This is important. And the floor
And the
with the
floor.
squeegees, and the mold is significantly less.
Oh, really?
And
I
that
don't
is the
even do
one thing I
that.
do well. But I do it so like vigorously. And because of all the workouts, I have a lot of arm strength.
yeah.
And like it makes like a
That
sound.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
but
and-
it's
yeah,
squeaky
yeah,
clean.
It's squeaky clean.
Yes. I don't even do that because my professional cleaner of a husband,
Right.
I told you, he does like the showers. It's like going into a hotel. Like everything is glistening. And then he tells everybody, don't take a shower. I mean, I want to take a shower on
Dad,
Sunday
what's
too.
the point?
I know. Okay, well, and I always say,
Interesting.
어차피 또 물 묻었건데 뭘 그렇게 열심히
Yeah,
하시는지.
that's my thing. I'm like, I mean,
이해가
it's
안 돼.
gonna get dirty anyways.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are the gross sisters today. We're the non-cleaning
are.
sisters.
We are.
Apologies.
And I was like, who thought of this question?
me. Funnily enough, me.
Okay.
I'm like, oh.
Well, we got to get serious because our first story for News Digest is regarding updates on the wildfire situation. What's going on?
Right. So to give you the latest death toll and the casualty count, the death toll stands at 28 and 8 serious injuries with
Yes.
24 light injuries reported. Gyeongbuk had the highest casualties with 24 deaths, Gyeongnam with 4. And as of last night, there were 11 places with wildfire damages reported and 7 locations with fires still burning. So updates, 38,665 hectare of forests have burned or have been destroyed because of the recent round of fires,
Yes.
making them the most destructive wildfires in recorded history. There are still over 8,500 people who are out of their homes, and over 2,600 buildings ranging from homes, factories to heritage sites have been damaged. And yes, we did see rain yesterday, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to put the fires all out as we had
Right.
really hoped for. And Daegu, Gyeongbuk regions got pretty light rain, so it didn't have as big of an effect as we had hoped.
Yes.
And the problem is still winds. The fires are spreading at a rapid pace. We're looking at a fire spread of about 8 kilometers per hour, which, by the way, is basically a person running / jogging. So it is fairly quick.
Yes.
And according to the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasures Headquarters, most of the deceased and severely injured individuals are seniors over the age of 60 or above. So they just couldn't evacuate quickly, or some of them even refused to evacuate. So they asked the local governments when the evacuation order comes to help these seniors evacuate preemptively. But we do have a final bit of good news. They are making headway on the extinguishing efforts. Breaking news, the Cheongsong wildfire has been 89% extinguished. Gyeongbuk Uiseong fire, 95% extinguished. And finally, the Ulju fire has been completely put out.
Okay.
And they are trying to, as for the ongoing extinguishing efforts, they're really trying to get a momentum on this while the ground is at least partially wet.
Oh, that's definitely good news right there. But, unfortunately, the natural conditions in Gyeongbuk make the region more fire prone, correct?
Absolutely. So we've been talking about in the opening, more investment in terms of equipment, specialized forces, but let's look at also natural aspects as well.
Sure.
Because northern Gyeongbuk has the highest level or highest number of pine tree forests, and pine trees, 소나무, account for 35% of all of its trees and forests.
I see.
And here's the thing about them. They are extremely vulnerable to fires. So pine trees are, as we learned in science class, coniferous trees, right? 침엽수, they have the pointy needles instead of leaves. And they do burn hotter and faster than the deciduous trees, the one with the broad leaves, 활엽수. And one of the problems is the 송진, the sap, which is actually 20% essential oils. Then, of course, oil is flammable.
Yes, yes.
And then once it's on fire, these pine tree fires are 1.4 times hotter and 2.4 times longer burning. And also the needles. Instead of the leaves, the needles, they remain on the trees into the winter. But then they create kind of kindling because they are drier and sharper.
True.
And it causes what's called this fire crown effect, 수관화, and that hwa is the fire, where the needles burn and then the fire spreads over to the next tree and the next tree over.
Yes, yes.
So the embers can fly hundreds of miles. So the affected areas of Andong, Cheongsong, Yeongyang, and Yeongdeok are also heavy with pine trees.
Yes, yes.
And the thing is, pine trees do adjust quite well to South Korea's climate. However, this fire vulnerability, it does need to be considered for future planning because, of course, there will need to be future planning in these mountains.
Yes. So thanks for pointing all of this out. For now, we're going to go on to our next topic. The National Assembly and the government released the finances of their employees. So we need to talk about this.
Yeah, let's go over that finance report. So 8 out of 10 lawmakers, so about 80% of lawmakers, 국회의원, saw an increase in their assets and finances in the past year. And that's with the past year's economy being
I was going to say.
what it is. This is a paper released by the National Assembly's Public Officials Ethics Committee. All public officials are legally bound to do this. 231 out of 299 lawmakers saw increased finances, with 162 of them seeing over 100 million won, 1억 won increase in their assets.
Yes.
At the very top of the list, who saw the biggest increase in assets was Democratic Party lawmaker Park Jung, who reported 36 billion won in his assets from real estate and interest rate increases. Also, People Power Party's Yoon Sang-yeon saw the biggest drop in assets by 6.4 billion won due to huge drops in stock prices.
Yes.
But then the wealthiest lawmaker for years running is and has been lawmaker An Cheol-soo of People Power Party, who is the founder of the cybersecurity firm named after him.
Yes.
And he owns a total of 136.7 billion won. Second place was DP's Park Deok-hum, who reported 53.5 billion won, and Park Jong in third place. So on average, they're actually excluding the two biggest earners, An Cheol-soo and Park Deok-hum.
Okay.
Lawmakers reported 2.6 billion won in assets and finances, still quite a bit above, an average person.
Okay.
In terms of the president, however, he did not disclose his assets this year because public officials can postpone the disclosure if they are detained during the official reporting period, which he was, so he will do this at a later date. In terms of the presidential office, the top aide in state affairs, Hong Cheol-ho, the 정무수석, reported 26 billion won in assets. Three others, Jang Ho-jin, who's the diplomacy special aide, Kim Tae-hyo of national security, and Song Tae-yoon, policy advisor, they reported over 10 billion won in assets, respectively.
I see. Once again, I think people, little might be thinking once again during this economy. People are going through some tough times, and then we see reports like this. So
Right.
leave it there for now. For our last bit of news, we're going to talk about sinkholes because we covered this story. We had the footage up on our YouTube page. The motorist that was in that sinkhole apparently was found dead inside Seoul's Gangdong-gu district, and we're entering actually a season with high sinkhole risks.
And the unfortunate thing is the sinkhole isn't just kind of a freak accident. I mean, it was, but it's not an outlier.
Sure.
So a reminder, a 20-meter wide sinkhole killed a man in Seoul earlier this week when a man on a motorcycle just fell in when that sinkhole all of a sudden out of nowhere collapsed. Last year, if you remember, there was also a sinkhole that was about 10 meters wide in Sasan-gu district that swallowed up a cargo truck. So according to government data, in the past several years from 2018 to now, there have been 1,345 sinkhole episodes or accidents. Most common was in Gyeonggi with 291 of them, Gwangju 155, Busan saw 133 cases.
Okay.
Most common times, and this is why I'm bringing it up now, is now. March to April period. That's because the ground is softer, therefore weaker. So the ground kind of freezes up during the cold months.
Okay.
And then when it gets warmer, it thaws and it kind of loosens up quite a bit, and then that's when the sinkholes happen.
Okay.
Also, second most common, July to August, which is the rain season with the water running off on the ground, causing kind of heavier masses over the roads and also seeping into the ground, making the soil looser again. But also, underneath all of this, underground construction has been pointed to as an underlying cause. So, for example, when we are looking at the period of June and July of 2014, there were 6 sinkholes found around the Seokchon Lake in Jamsil. At the same time, the L World, the big tower, that construction was going on. So a lot of the underground digging and the tremors, they likely caused the sinkholes. So since then, there have been laws and regulations that came out as a result. However, we do see accidents keep happening, and the scale of these sinkholes are getting larger and larger. And these sinkholes, because of the construction, they happen in the smack middle of the city, and that increases the risk of human casualties.
Yes.
And once again, because it is the season of sinkholes, there's only so much we can do to prevent or get out of the way, because as we saw, out of nowhere, they happen. So there are calls for local governments and the central government to be more vigilant and conduct underground inspections.
Indeed. Such an unfortunate incident. Well, thank you for going over all the news. And of course, we'll check in with you in hour number 2. But before you go, I have a song, not a song, a message.
You have a comment, right?
Yes, from Layla, who says, 봄은 내가 맞이할게. 대청소는 누가 할래? 이런 느낌이죠. 헤일리.
사실
라고 들었어요.
누가 하는지는 사실 크게 상관이 없죠. 저만 안 하면 되는 거죠.
누군가 하면 되죠.
그렇죠. 나만 아니면 되지. As long as I don't do it,
it's okay.
We're good.
All right, here is 달리기 by SES. This is requested by 마니님.
창피하게 멈춰설 순 없으니 단 한 가지 약속은 틀림없이 끝이 있다는 것 끝난 뒤에 지겨울 만큼 오랫동안 쉴 수 있다는 것 지겨운가요? 힘든가요? 숨이 턱까지 찼나요? 할 수 없죠 어차피 시작해버린 것은 쏟아지는 햇살 속에 이미 싹 말라와도 할 수 없죠 창피하게 멈춰설 순 없으니 이유도 없이 가끔은 눈물 나게 억울하겠죠 일등 아닌 보통들에게 박수조차 남의 일인 걸 단 한 가지 약속은 틀림없이 끝이 있다는 것 끝난 뒤에 지겨울 만큼 오랫동안 쉴 수 있다는 것
Welcome back, everybody. Text topic today, it's all about spring cleaning because we want your best tips. Unlike Haley and I, we're just not into cleaning that much, but I'm sure you guys are because I see a tip from, I think, Leslie who says mandatory closet clean out. 필수적으로 옷장을 clean out, 청소하다 아니면 이제 버릴 걸 버리다 그런 뜻이죠. Getting rid of clothing and shoes that, we haven't worn in at least 6 months. 6개월 동안 입지 않았던 거. 누가 이러시는데요. 6개월은 저는 I've never tried 6 months. I usually go for 2 years. 2년 동안 안 입는 거 저도 이제 버리려고 하는데 6개월 동안 입지 않았으면 버린대요. Once everything is pulled, pack into bags and boxes and drive straight to the thrift shop to drop off. So treat yourself at the ice cream shop. I like that because you're doing something good, Leslie. You're donating your clothes and then, treating yourself to ice cream. Can't go wrong with that. So that's a good way to look forward to spring cleaning. I think that's a good one. Well, let's get to Cat's Pick for today. For today's Cat's Pick, I saw this and I was a little disheartened once again because, I love animal stories. Today, I want to talk about demonic sea lions. 악마 같은 바다사자. So apparently some sea lions are acting really, really strangely, and it's believed to be caused by poisoning from domoic acid, 도모익산. Let's get the clip from ABC News.
Now to the West Coast, and the sea lions getting more aggressive. Experts blame the environment. Along the California coast, sea lions are getting poisoned by toxic algae, causing them to act in a way some describe as demonic. It comes amid a surge in the number of sea lions ingesting domoic acid, a neurotoxin within algae blooms, through the fish they eat.
We're seeing them start like they're stargazing. We're seeing some animals seem very, very sleepy, maybe right after having a seizure. They may be abnormally aggressive.
One man was surfing when he says a feral, almost demonic sea lion bit him and dragged him off his board, adding, "It was unlike anything I've ever seen in all the years I've been in the water." Marine biologists say the toxic algae bloom that usually forms every 4 to 7 years is forming more often due to warming temperatures and runoff pollution.
Now we're seeing an increase. Over the last 4 years, we've seen consecutive years of this harmful algal bloom off of our coast.
The Marine Mammal Care Center in San Pedro has taken in at least 146 sea lions since last month. Dolphins and seabirds also falling ill. This algae bloom, already described as worse than the one in 2023, blamed for more than 1,000 sea lion deaths. What can the public do? Experts say do your part to create a better environment for marine life.
Throwing away their trash, allowing anything toxic to go down the storm drain because everything ends up back at the ocean.
Sea lions have a 50 to 65% survival rate if they get treatment right away.
Okay, the reason why I brought this story to you is this, not just to tell you about demonic sea lions, but the fact is this: we are contributing to all of that, the trash that we put into the water. And ultimately, yes, that is what's getting them and causing them to be demonic. So let's be better. Just generally, let's be better people. And this was Cat's Pick for today.
Stay tuned. You're listening to Morning Wave in Busan.
It's time to greet Professor today. Professor Casey for Press Highlights. Good morning.
Good morning, class.
How are you? Professor Casey.
Do I really
Yes.
like just the collar? That's all it needs? That's all it takes?
I mean, that's like
cool.
the epitome of
With a sweater? Oh,
with a
gosh,
sweater.
Yeah.
It's not a diss.
No, well, you know what? I saw the weather was a little bit chilly outside this morning. I was like, oh, sweater again?
Because yesterday was hot. Like, I thought it was really warm.
Yeah, right.
And then today it's like, kind of
Yeah,
colder
back to like what?
again.
Last month? That's so weird.
Hey, question for you.
Yep.
Spring cleaning. Do you partake? Or are you like in the same boat Haley and I are in the,
Oh, you don't?
we watch.
You watch somebody else do it in your household? Is that who you're watching?
Listen and don't judge.
I'm not judging. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. No, so
You gotta,
do
gotta
you
get rid of
partake?
that demonic dust.
Right.
Yeah, no, I had. It happens like, right around springtime. I don't know. Also, perhaps it was something to do with a project that I had a deadline for, and I was like, do anything but that.
Yeah.
Do you have that problem as well? Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So,
But, yeah, I.
what do you do?
We have oh my gosh, I just remember the Romanian word, dulap. What is that in English?
You speak Romanian?
Yeah, at weird times.
Why do you know Romanian?
I learned Romanian when I lived in Moldova, so it's still in there.
Really?
I think dulap is the right word. What is a wardrobe?
What?
Not a closet, but
A wardrobe.
Yeah, that's so British English too. I would never use that.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have wardrobes typically in Korea instead
Korea.
of closets.
It's very common.
I cleaned the top of it 2 weeks ago.
On the top?
Yeah.
Was there like a lot of dust?
Oh my gosh,
So many
demonic.
demonic dust bunnies?
Yes, it was
Oh.
vile. It was vile.
Ah.
So
And what
I
did
don't
you use? Did you use like a vacuum?
vacuum plus
Like an attachment?
Gole. What's gole in English? Rags. Rags.
You're like Romanian and Korean today.
Oliaka.
Like a moist cloth, a dust cloth.
like dust cloth. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Rags. That's all I could think of. So yeah.
That sounds so nasty.
Oh yeah, it
Yeah.
does sound bad.
Okay,
But yeah, the combination, I was just like, I gotta clean this up. And I don't know where that urge came from. Is it because of the weather change? Is
I
that
don't
the
know.
idea, spring cleaning?
Haley says it's because he can reach the top of the wardrobe, and some people
I couldn't.
cannot.
I had to get a step
A step
stool.
ladder. Oh, really?
Yeah, that one of those things.
Are you okay today? And like,
No. Not okay.
you're like, finding words. Yes, sometimes it's hard. On air too. I do it all the time. And afterwards, I'm like, of course I knew that word. It's,
Right. And not at that moment you need it.
Yes, but it's okay. People always pop in and say, it's this word. I'm like, I know, I really do know, but yes.
I know it's in there.
It's in there somewhere. Well, let's jump into our story for Foreign Press Highlights. Obviously, stories about Korea from the perspective of non-Korean press media. So
Yes.
what's it about? Where's it from?
Well, this week has been, if you just look at what's going on in Korea from international outlets,
Yes.
it's been a really bad week. It's been a lot of things,
Not a good week.
No. However, sometimes, the bad that comes with it, there are things that will come out of it in a good way.
Hopefully,
so,
yes.
hopefully. So I'm going to go with the BBC version of this story, but
Which is?
this was reported by the CNN, New York Times, everybody. So South Korea admits to mass exporting children for adoption is the headline from the BBC. And this was big news because Wednesday, the report was released by the Independent Truth and Reconciliation Commission, and they found that South Korean governments, which means, not the government at large, but successive governments, committed numerous human rights violations over decades. In a controversial program that sent at least 170,000 children and babies abroad for adoption. That number is staggering if you think about it. And they said, according to the commission, it said the government's lack of oversight enabled the mass exportation of children by private agencies that were driven for profit. And they did find examples of fraud, falsified records, and coercion. A lot of things that had been coming out in the news for, I would say, the past few years.
Sure.
And that we've talked about along the way. So what they did find was since the 1950s, South Korea has sent more children abroad for adoption than any other country, most of them being sent to Western countries, where a lot of the news headlines, they kind of focus on individual people. Like, so the BBC focused on one particular person, and New York Times did as well.
Right.
And they always typically tend to be from either the United States or Norway or Sweden. And so it's the same kind of countries that are mentioned.
Yes.
But they did say South Korea has moved to tighten the adoption processes since a lot of this news has come out. But some of the adoptees and their biological parents say they're still haunted by what they went through.
I'm sure, because, it's like we've known, and we've talked about this a couple times,
Right.
on our program, but to have this, ironclad,
Evidence,
this
Right.
report, this official report coming
Right.
out, it just, I'm sure it's not easy for the people who are affected to really
Right.
take in and accept, right?
And there was a picture that accompanied this article, and I think it
Yes.
kind of says it all. So in the picture, you'll see it's Park Sun-young, who's the chairperson of the commission, and she was at a press conference, and there's a lot of pictures of her greeting this former adoptee.
Yes.
And just kind of shows you how emotional the whole situation was. And she says, according to Park Sun-young, while many adoptees were fortunate to grow up in loving families, it wasn't a terrible case for everybody. Others did suffer great hardship and trauma due to the flawed adoption processes. And even today, many continue to face challenges.
Yes.
A lot of them don't have an ID,
Right.
no identification, so they have no rights.
Yes, in terms of even citizenship to whichever country
Whichever
they were
country, right.
Adopted to, their new supposed, home adopted country.
Right. Or even within Korea, like if they wanted
Yes,
to
if
turn
they
to
wanted
Korea,
to come back, it's like,
who are you? And in a lot of cases, it's not clear. So,
Yes.
since they started this investigation in 2022, 367 adoptees that were sent overseas between 1964 and 1999 filed petitions alleging fraudulent practices in their adoption process. So,
wow.
And I think that number is probably just going to grow.
So, of the cases that have been filed thus far,
Yeah.
has fraud been found in all of the cases?
Well, out of those 367, they said in the BBC that around only 100 of those petitions have been analyzed so far. So it's a slow process.
Oh, I'm sure, because you got to go through it.
Right.
This is older information.
And a lot of falsified information and a lot of
Exactly.
dead ends, right? So
How do you check false information or fake information?
a lot of times I imagine luck is involved. But they said out of those 156 adoptees were recognized as victims of human rights violations. So
Over half
Right.
so far.
So
Yes.
far.
So that number's probably going to grow.
Right, and they're still investigating other cases. So
I'm curious, though, because we want to give a better context of this whole, part of Korean history. Like, reasoning behind the alleged fraud.
This is kind of reported in a lot of articles this week as well. Basically, it's kind of summarized as this. So after the aftermath of the Korean War, South Korea was a very poor country, one of the poorest in the world. It wasn't possible for a lot of families here to adopt children. So it kind of became, easier for people outside of the country to adopt them, and that system was quickly abused. So basically what happened was the government turned over the adoption programs to private agencies.
That's right.
And there was incessant demand for children. And to keep up with demand, these agencies started doing whatever it took to get children, and a lot of times taking children from mothers without them knowing or falsely reporting. Right.
I mean,
abuse of a system is basically what it was.
Exactly. So, anything else you want to tell us about this particular article?
This article it features Inger Ton Ulend Shin, who's now 60, and her case is really one of the most awful ones. She said her adoptive parents took better care of the dog than they ever did of me. She alleges all kinds of abuse of the adoptive parents who have since died, so they can't be held accountable.
Right.
But she's glad that this is finally coming out. She's glad that the investigation report was released. And, perhaps in her case, for a particular case, it's, too late to do anything about it. But she hopes this never happens again. And that's kind of key. These are unfortunate truths, but they must be known so that this kind of thing doesn't get repeated.
Exactly. So it doesn't happen again. Well, thank you for sharing this very important story.
Right.
I think that we need to hear about, to learn about. So for now, though, can we move on to our next story?
Yeah, and it's a complete left turn.
Okay.
It's a weird segue to make. It's a very difficult topic to talk about. But this, on the other hand, is not. It's sometimes it's weird. Some people can just say something and they get an immediate response. And I think Son Heung-min is one of those people. If he says something,
people listen.
Right.
Yes.
And this is the case of that. This is apparently something that's kind of been an ongoing issue that I was completely unaware of. But he has such celebrity status. If he says there's a problem, there's a problem.
Okay.
And this is from Reuters. South Korea's sports ministry to inspect pitches after Son criticism. Are you familiar with this story?
Yes. Well, I know that
it's a big deal now.
He has actually criticized the condition of the fields a few times. It wasn't just like a one-time comment,
Sure.
a one-offer. So,
but it's particularly important these days.
Yeah, especially because both matches recently ended up in draws, meaning, Korea heavily favored to win both matches, and they didn't. So, there's a lot of blaming.
Can you blame it on the pitch?
I don't know.
He did.
Well, he did, yeah.
In a way, not completely, of course.
Right.
But so basically, since he has publicly criticized the pitches at a very crucial time during World Cup qualifiers, suddenly Thursday, the South Korean sports ministry said it will work with the domestic soccer league, the K-League, to improve the quality of pitches after national team captain Son Heung-min said the issue was partly to blame for poor results in the home World Cup qualifiers. I guess you know the details of that, so I'm going to kind of skip to this. There's a picture of him, of course, if you would like to see.
Yes.
But basically, the main point is the Koreans were held to draws in both matches, as they say in Reuters. And I wasn't aware they actually moved the games to more regional cities from Seoul, which is the opposite of what you'd think.
Because the stadium in Seoul,
the World Cup stadium,
not in good condition.
Right. So they actually ended up moving to Goyang, to a stadium in Goyang, and also into Suwon. And apparently the conditions were not much better there.
Well, I hope they inspect all the fields so that that athletes, not just for better play, but we want to prevent injury.
Right.
If there isn't a good condition, a playing condition, then who knows?
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
And especially they mentioned other K-League players have said that especially in cold conditions, that's when they find it to be particularly harmful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think you have one other one, real short, if you can summarize.
I'll make it quick.
Yeah.
Another person who speaks and people listen is President Donald Trump from the United States.
That's true.
So from Reuters, South Korea plans emergency response over U.S. tariffs on autos. This is making huge news around the world, but especially right here in Korea as well.
Yes.
Because I didn't know this, but we have the third largest seller of cars in the world.
Yeah.
Combined with the two big companies here. So they're kind of freaking out about the new 25% imposed auto tariffs.
Coming up soon, April 2nd, as they say.
Right.
I mean, it's just,
right after April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Car,
I don't
auto,
know.
and auto parts as well.
Right.
Yes.
Timing's interesting. But it was just announced this past Monday, and people are kind of scrambling.
They
How do we
are.
deal with it?
I don't know. Well, we will, of course, dig into the story as well.
Yep.
Thank you so much for going over all the stories, and have a lovely weekend, Professor Casey.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and let's get to our final song for hour number 1. As requested by Jillinim, this is Drip by Baby Monster.
When I dress, I don't think so much. I could be the gold, I don't need too much. I'm a cynical, I'ma eat that lunch. Baby, so cold, get the ice cream truck. 찌릿찌릿 끼리끼리 놀아볼까. kitty, yeah, we gotta run this town. Hitting me up, cause I got what they like. Baby, got no chance, better hit that dance. Nah, 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 I'll be there. 고민하지 마. Nah, 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 I'll be there. 망설이지 마. But you don't know about me. Yeah, yeah, you gon' know about me. Boy, 아름다운 별들이 빛나는 밤이야. What you say? 끝없는 가지, you know it's on me. Got that, what you say? Are you ready? Set, turn on the lights. Baby got passion, ambition, 난 보란 듯이. Look at that 온몸으로 느끼는 내 몸짓. Baby got drip, 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 drip. Baby got drip, 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 drip. Asa, 내는 뭐 monster, monster, monster. Came to conquer, baby, holla, what's up? We're the best, the rest, confess, we're blessed. 판을 180도 바꿔. Rise to the dream, the copy, no knockoff. On my left, this bitch, I'm gon' walk off. Most disco 잡아, hold tight. 끝까지 밟아, you know we gon' ride. Nah, 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 I'll be there. 고민하지 마. Nah, 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 I'll be there. 망설이지 마. But you don't know about me. Yeah, yeah, you gon' know about me. Boy, 아름다운 별들이 빛나는 밤이야. What you say? 끝없는 가지, you know it's on me. Got that, what you say? Are you ready? Set, turn on the lights. Baby got passion, ambition, 난 보란 듯이. Look at that 온몸으로 느끼는 내 몸짓. Baby got drip, 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 drip. Baby got drip.
Your bridge to the world. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
아프리카 유일의 한국전 참전국 에티오피아. 6천여 명의 군인들은 자신들의 월급을 모아 부모 잃은 아이들을 위해 보아원이라는 고아원도 세워주었습니다. 그러나 지금 에티오피아는 위기에 처해 있습니다. 끊이지 않는 내전과 기후재난으로 대부분의 의료시설은 파괴되었고 의약품도 부족해 간단히 치료할 수 있는 질병으로 사망에 이르는 상황입니다. 바로 지금이 우리가 에티오피아의 진빚을 갚을 때입니다. 지금 전화해 주세요. 후원 문의 080-993-0119 국제구조위원회.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을 물들이는 다양한 축제로 늘 풍성합니다. 봄의 시작을 알리는 봄꽃축제부터 부산의 여름을 만끽하는 바다축제, 전 세계 영화인들이 모이는 부산국제영화제와 새로운 시작의 해맞이 축제까지. 부산의 축제는 우리의 열정을 가득 담고 있습니다. 바쁜 일상은 잠시 뒤로하고 특별한 시간을 선물 받는 바로 이곳 부산에서 우리의 삶은 축제가 됩니다. 축제로 하나 되는 부산.
through the Find a Friend option. Come share and chat with us at BFM anytime, anywhere for free. Don't forget to add BFM 부산영어방송 to your Kakao friends list.
Man, I haven't got a chance. I call him.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Good morning, Dynamic Busan.
Yeah, you're waking up. Time to shake it up. Tell the world good morning and find out what's going on.
Well, hi there, folks. There's everything from comedy to lively chat to music.
Broadcasting from a room about the size of your closet.
All calls are recorded.
What show is this?
Live from Korea's dynamic city, this is Morning Wave in Busan.
I'm sorry, who'd you say you were?
It is now 8 o'clock. This is News Highlights. Wildfire death toll rises as government designates additional special disaster zones. Firefighters are struggling to contain the country's worst ever wildfires, with a death toll rising to 28, according to the latest official figures. Wildfires across the southeastern parts of the country have ravaged some 38,000 hectares of forest, as the much-awaited rain wasn't nearly enough. The Ulju fire has been completely extinguished, but the fires across northern Gyeongbuk continue to burn. In the meantime, acting President Han Duck-soo yesterday designated the areas of Andong, Cheongsong, Yeongyang, and Yeongdeok as special disaster zones to provide government support for damage recovery and victim relief. Prosecutors appeal Lee Jae-myung's case to Supreme Court. The Seoul Central Prosecutor's Office yesterday filed a final appeal to the Supreme Court regarding the not guilty verdict for Democratic Party Chair Lee Jae-myung. The Seoul High Court acquitted Lee of all the charges in his election law violation case, overturning a suspended one-year sentence from the first trial. The prosecution said that Wednesday's acquittal does not conform with common sense and the empirical rule and displays an excessive discrepancy from the view of general voters. Government plans emergency response to Trump's auto tariffs. The South Korean government will put forth emergency measures to protect the domestic auto industry after U.S. President Donald Trump announced plans to impose 25% tariffs on four main auto imports starting April 2nd. In a meeting with business leaders yesterday, acting President Han Duck-soo vowed to channel all of the government's wisdom and resources into overcoming the crisis and protecting the country's interests and industries in the ongoing trade war with tailored measures. South Korean car makers are expecting to be greatly impacted as auto exports to the U.S. take up nearly half of the country's total vehicle shipments. North Korea's Kim Jong-un to visit Russia this year. Foreign press outlets have reported that preparations are underway for North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's visit to Russia this year, citing Moscow's deputy foreign minister. Separate reports said that Russia's foreign minister Sergei Lavrov is also planning to visit Pyongyang to continue strategic dialogue with North Korea. Meanwhile, Seoul's unification ministry predicted in its latest North Korea report that Pyongyang's current diplomatic focus is Russia to maximize returns on the assistance it provided in the Ukraine war. It also added that the North is trying to improve its relations with China. U.S. allies threaten retaliation against Trump's auto tariffs. Governments, including Germany, Canada, France, and the UK, have voiced condemnations of U.S. President Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs on car and car part imports, with several threatening retaliatory action. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said that his country's old relationship with the U.S. is over, pledging retaliatory tariffs. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz described the tariffs as wrong, saying tariffs and isolation hurts everyone. The U.S. imported almost $475 billion worth of cars last year, mostly from Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Canada, and Germany. European car makers alone sold more than 750,000 vehicles to American drivers. And this was News Highlights. It's time for Waga Waga. We have Haley back in the studio.
Hello. Before we get to all the waggling, I have quick updates on the wildfires that are coming in. Breaking news. So far, the wildfires have collectively impacted 45,000 hectares of land. So that's an update from just what you said previously.
Yes.
And then in terms of the extinguishing rate, on average, the Gyeongbuk fires are about 85% out. Yeongyang area, 76%, and Yeongdeok, 65%. And because the ground is still relatively wet from the rain yesterday, today is the golden time to get all the fires out before they can spread in the drier weather on the weekend.
Yes, because at least in our neck of the woods, it's going to be clear and dry once again. Well, thank you for that update. And now we're going to turn to our first Waga Waga story. There was a close call at Kimhae International Airport when a plane landed on the wrong airstrip.
Right. So this was completely preventable, human error. So a Chinair airplane, it landed not on the strip it was authorized to do so, but the one next to it. So this is the Chinair flight LJ312 from Sapporo on Tuesday, landed on the 18L, and that L stands for left landing strip at 5:35 p.m.
Okay.
When it was authorized to land on the 18R. The right side strip. To make matters worse, another plane, which was an Air Busan flight, it was headed towards the 18L strip for takeoff. So they could have collided. Thankfully, they did not, because crisis was averted when the air traffic controller noticed the situation and ordered the Air Busan flight from getting to that airstrip. The situation, however, it does constitute an incident in airplane lingo, in air traffic lingo, that's 준사고, which affects safe operations of the planes, but it doesn't necessarily reach an accident level.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine, because we're still quite sensitive.
Right.
Anything related with airplanes and airports. So how did this happen?
Human error. This was the pilot's mistake. The pilot apparently got the airstrips mixed up. The L and the R, which is, yes, mistakes happen, but this is a case where it shouldn't.
Yes.
Right. So Chinair said that they immediately reported the incident to the Land Ministry and they're conducting an investigation.
Yes. As JB says, a near miss. It could have been
a close
really
call,
bad.
near miss.
Right.
It was right.
Yes. Let's move on. Evacuation orders have been issued for Andong City as casualties and damages are mounting. But some employers were apparently required to stay put. Employees.
Right.
Workers.
So we're talking about a golf course, an Andong area golf course, where a woman who says she works there as a caddy wrote about her experience online. So she posted a video actually with an experience as she was evacuating from the parking lot of the golf course. You can clearly see the flames blazing. I can't even say that's, they're blazing.
That is like an inferno, blazing.
Right. There's no other way to put it.
Yes.
And that is clearly visible from the other side of the parking lot.
Right.
But the flames are close. If you can see them up close, and the smoke and the ash. So she said for the past 3 days, by the way, 3 days during which she was required to come into work, she could smell the burning and had to wear masks from the ashes. By the way, the 초미세먼지, the ultrafine dust levels in Andong area is horrible right now. But the workplace is apparently, this golf course is notorious for not letting customers cancel their reservations. So on Tuesday, 5 of the 60 teams canceled, which meant 55 teams still came to golf.
With that going on.
And, if you watch any sort of media, that's been going on.
Yes.
So she said by 3 p.m., thick smoke and big pieces of ash were flowing in, and she could see the flames in the distance. And she was talking with the golfers that she was taking care of when an employee of the course came up to them and told them, no, you guys need to start the second half of your course. And said the golf course won't cancel the game for them. So the guests thankfully said, if you won't cancel, we're just going to walk out. And they walked out. At that point, because her game had been canceled, she could walk out with them. However, she says that a lot of the other teams are still golfing, which, again, if you can see the flames, why would you? But even the caddies and other staff, they were required to accompany them.
So basically, if they're not done with their rounding, then they have to stay. The caddies is what's going on, right?
And the golf course isn't going to cancel and I'm assuming there are finances. There's money involved and refund half of the round to the customers. So that's what happened. By the way, that golf course burned down.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So everybody evacuated, but it burned down. So the writer said, it made no sense for the golf course to not cancel these rounds. And I know these courses are, quote, her words, crazy about money, but this isn't right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, as a golfer myself, I can't even imagine wanting to
28 people
play.
dead. Again, 28 people dead.
Yes, and not canceling. Okay. Let's move on. We're going to go to Argentina for our next story, where a group of men were banned from watching a major soccer match because they didn't fulfill their responsibility. What is this about?
This is a very creative, maybe effective way to get someone to pay child support. 양육비.
Child support, really? I'm like speechless, really?
양육비를 내지 않았기 때문에 축구 경기를 볼 수 없었습니다. And this wasn't just any game. This was Argentina versus Brazil.
Oh, that must have been a hot ticket.
The national team game. So 3 men were stopped they had tickets. They bought tickets. They went through all the work and they were stopped at the ticketing booth because, excuse me, you haven't paid your child support.
They have a list? At the stadium?
They have a list. So why? Well, they are registered on the Argentinian government's list of unpaid debtors.
Okay.
So in Argentina, if parents delay their child support payments by more than 2 months, they are registered on the court's child support debtors list. And once you're registered, legally, you cannot participate in large-scale cultural events, including soccer matches.
Wow.
Because the lawmaker who drafted and introduced this bill said, if you can pay the money to go to a concert, you can pay child support.
Oh,
okay. Well, yes. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Because these concerts and matches are not cheap.
That's true.
And saying that this is unethical for you to entertain and enjoy your life while your child and your ex-spouse, but the child's other parent goes hungry or cannot, meet the essentials.
Yes.
By the way, there are 11,000 people registered on this list. Of course, the real number is expected to be bigger, but it is a creative way.
They missed out on it was, by the way, I don't know why I know the score. It was 4-1.
Argentina won. Right. So they missed a really awesome game if you're Argentinian.
Because the competition between rivalry fierce between those two countries.
Right. And then, recent World Cup winner, multiple World Cup winners.
Exactly.
So I would have liked to have seen that game.
Yes. Well, let's go to our final story. People are stepping up with acts of kindness for firefighters.
Right.
So
we are going back to the Andong fire because, we have a whole list of celebrities and corporations making big donations, which is great for them. But I want to talk about the small acts of kindness that are still very thoughtful and wonderful. So the almost week-long fires, they've exhausted the firefighters and people are really showing their appreciation. So according to an online post, a woman who runs a vacation home, what we call a pension in Uiseong, she has opened up her business free for firefighters. So she said she noticed that the firefighters seemed exhausted, but because the town she lives in is such a small town, there just aren't many lodging options available.
Yes.
So she just opened up the rooms and also put in ramen, coffee, beverages for them. She refills them every morning. And she did notice that they don't really even spend the night. They kind of go into 1 or 2 hour breaks, take quick naps, and then go back out.
Yes.
Another woman who owns a restaurant in nearby city of Gumi, she just started random round calling convenience stores in Andong and started paying for stuff, started prepaying for things like water water and drinks so firefighters could come in, grab some and go.
Right.
And then she also called around and found out that those who have evacuated from their homes are still in need. As of the latest numbers, I believe over 8,000 people are still out of their homes, and they need things like blankets. But the thing is, it is harder for them to just order them or get them because some of the roads have closed down due to the fires. So another person who had access drove from Daegu to Uiseong with a car full of fruit because they heard that they were going hungry and they wanted to make sure that they were fed and healthy. So apples and bananas for the firefighters. Right. And I'm sure a lot of other stories are going on. They just are not reported. But it is wonderful if you can help with, the Red Cross and other charitable organizations or even calling convenience stores.
What a great idea.
This whole culture of 선결제, right? The prepaid things, whether these are for demonstrations or for these purposes, it's been a wonderful culture in South Korea.
K-culture at its best.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for ending on a positive note. And of course, I wish you a very wonderful weekend. Thank you, Haley.
Have a great weekend.
All right, listeners, it's time for your updated traffic and weather. It is now 15 past the hour. Here's your traffic update. A cargo truck has broken down on the Dongso overpass, Jinnyang ramp, going away from the city, so it's causing backup right now. Also slow going on the top portion of the Gwangan Bridge, lanes 1 and 2 in particular. Also congested on Mandok-daero from Minam intersection to Mandok intersection. So slow going on Haeundae-lo from Wondong interchange to Chaesongdong three-way intersection, going in both directions. As for the weather, it is currently 10 degrees. It's going to go up to 14, so it's cooler than yesterday. Looking ahead to the weekend, tomorrow a low of 4, a high of 13 degrees Celsius is expected. On Sunday, a low of 1 degree, a high of 11. Both clear days, though. This was your traffic and weather. And here's a song request from Benny. This is 꽃 by Lee Seung-hwan.
지나는 가을 되게 내 사랑 영원히 잠드는 잔디 위에 꽃이
All right, Wavers. That was a good song, was it not? Hey, today, though, we're talking about spring cleaning. And since some of you did not reply to this, I'm going to give you some tips that I scraped from the internet because, I'm just not a cleaner. But here's what you're supposed to be doing for spring cleaning. And so this is according to Good Housekeeping, an authority on spring cleaning. So first of all, they say, number one, plan and prepare, making a checklist of to-do things, right? So making sure that you're getting everything, being nitty-gritty. And then they say, break it down, because if you try to do it all in one day, you might be overwhelmed and then just give up. 포기하면 안 되니까 이제 좀 나눠서 하라. 그렇게 돼 있네요. And then they also say gather supplies, meaning you need to get, you have to have your gloves. And then if you're using cleaning products, whether they're all natural, like you made some sort of cleaning product or you bought one at the store, to have that ready as well. And lastly, to set realistic goals. 현실적인 목표를 세워라. Because once again, if you, in your mind, Fantasyland, you want to go from top to bottom and get everything really, really extra clean, it might be difficult. So breaking it up into little parts. And then they also recommend decluttering first. 그러니까 정리부터 하고 그다음에 청소로 시작하라고 돼 있네요. So that's what the experts say. Not from Kat. I am borrowing once again from Good Housekeeping their tips on how to do proper spring cleaning. All right, now we're going to get into our special interview. And this is important because everybody's awaiting when will the court rule on this case involving President Yoon Suk-yeol. So let's get to our special interview. South Korea's Constitutional Court recently overturned the impeachment of Prime Minister Han Duck-soo, reinstating him as acting president, a role he assumed following President Yoon Suk-yeol's suspension for declaring martial law in December last year. So this decision has intensified speculation about the court's forthcoming ruling on President Yoon's impeachment, with many questioning how Han's reinstatement might influence that outcome. So legal experts, they are scrutinizing and scouring the justice deliberations, the reasoning behind their ruling, noting that the court's prolonged silence offers little insight into their discussions of what's to come. So as we await this major verdict, we have invited An Jun-sung, who is an attorney at law, and he's going to help us kind of delve through this very sticky situation. Hi, welcome to our program.
Morning.
Yes. So first of all, let's talk about the ruling itself. So obviously it's March 28th, and next week it's going to be April. So is it correct to assume that the ruling will now be handed down in April? So what do you think about the whole timeline, first of all?
Yes, well, it's very difficult to predict this, make any prediction at this moment, because there have been so many changes and it's different from our expectation from the beginning. But I think there are two main facts to be considered. First, two justices will retire on April 18th, Friday, which means that there will be only 6 justices who will remain on the bench. And that's a consensus. You mean 6 out of 6 will be required for any decision-making process. And second, the KCC usually gives at least 2 days of advance notice. So put them together, any day between April 1st, Tuesday, and April 17th, Thursday is possible at this moment. But now the Friday rule kicks in, which predicts that KCC ruling will come out on a Friday, as in the cases of two former presidents. Therefore, my educated guess is either April 4th or 11th of Friday.
I see. Thanks for clarifying that for our listeners. So as we look forward to this decision, I mean, it seems that the Constitutional Court has been holding your daily deliberations, but once again has yet to announce this ruling date. So is this unusual, the way that this case is unfolding, or is this pretty much going according to protocol?
Well, I would say unusual. I would say something different.
Okay.
Different experience, I guess.
Yes.
And in the previous cases, we did not use the term delay since both rulings came out in a short time. For example, 14 days for the Nomuyan case and 11 days for Bakune case. So unfortunately, we do not have any hard facts regarding the substantial delay in the KCC deliberation process. So it's a guessing game. So in this respect, I think that complexity of legal issues in the current impeachment case is one of the key factors contributing to the current delay. But could be more, behind the story.
Exactly. And so, obviously we don't know what's happening behind closed doors. I mean, people are speculating at this point about whether this, what seems to be delay, is it because of internal disagreements? Are there political considerations? Or, the upcoming by-elections, does that play a factor? Do you think that all of these kind of issues might be the reason why there seems to be as lay people, we see as maybe a delay in the handing down of a ruling?
Well, it's a very interesting question. And I have two observations on the Prime Minister's impeachment case. And first, under the Korean constitutional law, only 6 votes are required to make any ruling.
Yes.
So in the Prime Minister's case, 6 justices managed to reach an agreement on the single issue that the Prime Minister violated Korean constitutional law by failing to appoint 3 justices to KCC.
Yes.
And second, more importantly, the KCC decided not to remove him from his post in spite of his unconstitutional act. So I think that's the big hint we can get from the case. However, interpretation may be different, depends on which side you are at this moment.
I see. Yes, indeed. And so when we look at Han's case, Prime Minister Han's case, I mean, the justices obviously did not reach a unilateral decision. So do you think we might see a similar situation with President Yoon and his case?
Yes, it's an interesting question again. Once again, the KCC does not need consensus on each and every issue.
Yes.
That is to say that 8 justices need only 6 votes to legally remove President Yoon from his post. So as they showed in the Prime Minister's impeachment case, I think they can easily meet the constitutional threshold on at least one issue.
Yes.
So in this respect, I think that the cases has been spending some time to build consensus among 8 justices. Technically, I think that it might be easier to do so on a procedural issue. So, for example, if 8 justices can agree that there was any procedural violation, such as illegality of the cabinet meeting on December 3rd,
yes,
something like formality issues, I think that could be, the winner.
Interesting. So it could be a procedural violation, as you say, Mr. An. So with, if we switch gears just a little bit also, with DP chair, Democratic Party chair, Lee Jae-myung, his recent acquittal, that's also kind of, a major legal development as well. So if you could tell us about the significance of this decision as well, because obviously this court overturned a lower court's decision. So what might that mean? And also, might it influence this upcoming, decision that's to be handed down on President Yoon?
I think that I watched the program, actually, the sentencing on live, actually. It's very interesting because it sounds like to me that more like a political speech issue. So the Seoul High Court reversed the trial court decision on the ground that the Lee Jae-myung's statements were opinions rather than disseminating false facts. So when you talk about legal issue, false facts is a very strong word, actually. So it means that it's a higher burden to prove the prosecutor to prove, is it really false facts? So the court also considered, in this respect, the balance between freedom of expression and the regulation under the Korean public election law. So also it concluded that the politician expressing opinions in the public context, such as a TV debate in this case, and does not necessarily constitute the dissemination of false facts. However, Lee Jae-myung's case and President Yoon's case are legally separate cases at different courts, and therefore there will be no legal effect on the upcoming impeachment ruling.
Indeed, indeed. And before we let you go, Mr. An, in terms of what you personally, as a professional in this field, do you have any inkling as to what might be handed down, or is it too difficult to say?
Well, there's so much debates going on.
Yes, I know.
So yeah. But in my opinion, I think that there will be the 8-0 ruling on the procedural issue, which they can reach a consensus. But other than like substantive issue, they might have a split. So, but however, we don't need a consensus on each and every issue. As long as you have a supermajority, means 6 out of 8, they'll be sufficient to impeach President Yoon, to remove him from office.
I see. So, of course, we don't know when that's going to be, but of course, the nation is waiting with bated breath. But thank you so much for trying to break it down for us so that we can better understand the situation and, of course, the date on when the court will hand down its ruling. Thanks for joining us today.
It's my pleasure.
Once again, this was attorney An Jun-sung, and we talked about whether the court and also when the court will be handing down this ruling. So he speculates, that it might be on a Friday, because if you look at previous cases, that's, what has happened. But of course, we just don't know. But once again, everybody here in South Korea waiting news on this ruling. So this was a special interview. We're going to take a short song break. So here it is. This is La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf.
Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche, voilà le portrait sans retouche de l'homme auquel j'appartiens. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, qu'il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. C'est lui pour moi, moi pour lui dans la vie. Il me l'a dit, l'a juré pour la vie. Et dès que je l'aperçois, alors je sens dans moi mon cœur qui bat. Des nuits d'amour à plus finir, un grand bonheur qui prend sa place, des ennuis, des chagrins s'effacent, heureux, heureux, à en mourir. Quand il me prend dans ses bras, il me parle tout bas, je vois la vie en rose. Il me dit des mots d'amour, des mots de tous les jours, et ça me fait quelque chose. Il est entré dans mon cœur une part de bonheur dont je connais la cause. pour toi dans la vie. Tu me l'as dit, t'as juré pour la vie. Dès que je t'aperçois, alors je sens dans moi mon cœur qui bat.
Get your local up-to-date news from Korea and abroad right here on Morning Wave in Busan with Catherine. Stay tuned.
Okay, so listeners, I do want to let you know that we have a partial blackout in the studio. So I believe you can hear us, but if you're watching on our YouTube feed, you might be wondering why we have our phone flashlights aimed at our face. So we have a partial blackout in the studio. So please bear with us as we try to resolve it with our engineer right now. All right, so we have Vasana for the segment. What in the world?
In the dark room.
And so, yeah, what in the world, really?
What in the world?
So,
what's the text topic this morning?
Today, it's all about spring cleaning. Do you partake in spring cleaning? Do you do any cleaning?
Well, no and yes.
No and yes. What do you mean by that?
Spring cleaning means the whole house, and you take
like
a whole
really,
day, right? Yeah.
Like deep cleaning is what I like to call it.
No,
yes,
because I generally clean every day, so I don't need to do it.
Oh, every day.
Yeah.
So hence, maybe not like the deep clean. You might not need it.
Yes.
Because you do it every day.
Correct.
Is it you or like your significant other?
I'm going to say both of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you mean by say? So in reality?
I'm going to say both of us not getting trouble.
I know, no, but I'm sure you do
no,
your
we
part,
both
right?
participate.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
important though.
And recently my
Yes.
son has participated, which is amazing.
Yes.
Because kids usually don't like tidying up.
Yes,
making
yes.
a bed, doing the vacuum.
That's true. All right. Well, let's get into our segment now. So with our first story, what do you have?
The first story is, sorry, trying to look through this lovely light here.
Yes, yes.
The New Zealand, we often have voting on fish of the year, bird of the year, animal of the year, that sort of thing. So recently in New Zealand, we've got the fish of the year.
Fish of the year.
Fish of the year.
Oh.
Which is the blobfish.
Blobfish?
Blobfish.
Oh.
I don't know whether we've got pictures of it or not.
We won't be, yeah.
We won't be having pictures of
We're
mine?
trying to fix the lights.
Okay.
So, yes.
Oh, damn.
Okay, so we're going to imagine. Can you explain what it looks like? Because you've seen it. Right?
A hunk of snot, basically. So that's what the blobfish looks like
Yes.
out of the water. But in the water, it's very, very beautiful.
Yes.
So the only reason it becomes a blobfish is because all the water pressure is off the fish. And when it comes onto land, there's none of that water pressure. It's only atmospheric pressure, which is not as much. And so the blobfish becomes a blob rather than the beautiful spiky creature it is in the ocean.
Really interesting.
Sorry, I'm using my fingers like teachers usually do, right?
Yeah, I know. I am guilty of that. I'm gesturing all the time. And it's like, people comment on it sometimes. It's an occupational hazard.
Yes.
We use all parts of the body to teach, right? So,
Yeah. So the whole competition was neck and neck between the blobfish and the orange ruffy.
Ooh.
It's another deep sea dweller that lost out in the final moments. And I had pictures of both of them, the orange ruffy and also the blobfish. The orange ruffy is probably a fish that most people do not know exists, or rather do not know what it looks like.
Sure.
Do know the look of it. So I put a funny picture up on the web, but on our feed here. But looks like we're not going to get a lovely picture of it.
Right. There it is. We have it.
Okay, so that's the blobfish.
Better
deep
that fish
down.
than us right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Has better lighting.
It's got lighting, and it's way deep down in the sea. My
부럽네요.
goodness, that's pretty good lighting down there. Okay, and this is what it looks like on land. Did we see that before?
Oh.
Yes. Okay. So
that is not pretty.
Yeah, because of the pressure, the water pressure is taken away, then it just becomes a blob.
Still prettier than us.
Yes. And this is the orange roughy. This is what it looks like in the ocean. And then this is what it looks like out of the ocean.
Oh, Masana! That was so terrible.
I'm sorry.
But that fried fish, still better lighting.
Or as we say in New Zealand, fish and chips.
Yes.
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips,
Fish and
yes.
chips. So here's to you, blobfish. You've taught us all a very valuable lesson.
You're so terrible.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Or in this case, the eye of all those beholders who voted. And for me, who has a great sense of humor.
Yes.
For some.
All right.
So anyway, the reason why New Zealand does all this voting things, all these voting things, is to...
Why do you do it?
Why do we do it? It's for
why
fun.
do you do it?
It's for fun. No, it's not. It's to create public awareness and keep the public aware of nature.
Yes.
And so we have bird of the... We have tree of the year, I think. Which I think in New Zealand would always be the totara. But anyway.
Okay.
Okay, the next story, however, is ridiculous. It's
what
all
is it?
about money. All about money. And nothing about raising awareness. So New Zealand's parliament.
Yes, what happened?
By the way, have you ever been to Korea's parliament building? Have you ever gone through a tour of, is it on Yeouido?
In Yeouido?
Yeah, have you ever been there?
I've been up to the gates.
Okay.
But not like inside. No, I haven't.
They don't do tours? They don't do tours? Okay, they do tours in New Zealand. But here they're opening different kinds of tours. And they've launched a full-blown ghost tour. So the same people who can't pass a budget without a seance have now decided, like we look like today, that's what they look like in Parliament. They're doing a ghost tour.
My arm hurts, but yeah. Yes, go on.
Apayo, nani dango. Okay, sorry, I'll stop singing there.
Yes.
So the tour features all the classics: mysterious deaths, ghostly apparitions, and you can take this one if you want. Okay.
No.
No.
I don't want Haley holding the light for us. No. That's 극한 직업. Okay.
You're the best.
Yes.
You're the best.
Yes, she's the best. What else?
So over the years, strange things have happened in Parliament. It's kind of like going through a school at night as well.
Oh.
Have you ever been to a school at night?
That's scary.
That is very scary.
Right. What is in Korea? Yogo-괴담, like going to...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they had that whole series. It's kind of eerie going to a school at night.
Yeah, so the same in Parliament at nighttime. When it's empty, it is very scary. But scary things have happened there.
Like
people have died there.
Like literally?
Literally died in Parliament. And then there have been a cat infestation.
A cat infestation? Not me, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like cats, 고양이들.
Cats, not you.
Yeah. Okay. I have not been there.
See a million of Yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
So the funny one, which I can understand, was a severed skull, which was in a locked cabinet in Parliament.
Right.
Was stolen and then found in a college dorm room.
Yes.
I can understand that because in New Zealand, we have this thing called Orientation Week.
Oh, OT.
But it's different in New Zealand. We get prizes for whoever did the most daring thing in orientation.
Most daring thing?
Yeah.
Give us an example.
An example.
We have so much time.
We would take our professor's car. And then we would hire a crane, and then we would put it in his office or in his lecture hall.
That's like real extreme.
Yeah, so the engineering students did that. Obviously, music students can't handle a crane to save themselves. There was another one where they dangled a table and chairs off a bridge.
Right.
And then they ate breakfast in midair.
Oh my goodness.
So all those lovely things which we don't see here. Here, OT is basically just drinking and lots of other things. Yeah.
In Korea, yeah, there's OT and there's MT. And I
MT,
always wondered because, like, in the States, we didn't really have leaders, whatever. What is
Yes.
MT? What does it stand for?
Membership
training. Yeah.
마시고 토하고.
Yes. 뭐라고요? 못 들었어요. No. Membership training.
Membership training.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
알겠습니다.
And so moving on to our story.
Moving on.
Yes.
So finally, we have not one, but two cases of criminals trying to smuggle things in ways that are a shell of an idea and a real gut-wrenching mistake. My puns have started.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start at Newark. Have I pronounced that correctly?
Newark.
Yes. Not New York. This is Newark.
Newark. Yes.
Liberty International Airport, where a man was caught trying to sneak something past TSA. I honestly thought this was a Florida story, but
not a steak.
Yeah, not a steak.
Not a snake.
A snake.
Not a snake in his pants, right?
Not a snake or a steak.
What did he try? Oh, Haley.
Alive. He tried to smuggle. Why did you say
try to
snake?
smuggle?
Oh, that's right, because we had a snake a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So what's he trying to smuggle?
A live turtle.
Kobugi.
Yeah.
In his pants.
In his pants.
Not smart.
So the TSA got suspicious when the body scanner alarm went off because there aren't many naturally occurring objects in the human anatomy shaped like a 5-inch turtle. Yeah, it's not that big. So they have to add another alert, a groin alert. So when officers asked him what was going on, the man hesitated before reaching down to pull like a rabbit out of a hat, a turtle out of his pants.
I don't...
And it was wrapped in a blue towel. So that was a lot of things to stack down there.
But at least it was wrapped. I mean, I feel sorry for the turtle. That's like animal abuse.
We have a picture of the turtle with the blue towel.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know some people are tuning in right now. Like we have a message from Na Sang-hun-nim saying, "Oh my God, I thought something like wild happened at BFM when I opened the app right now to work. Like he just tuned in right now and he's wondering." So we had a partial blackout. The good news is you can still hear us. And you can kind of see us.
Is that good?
Right. And so once again, I do want to apologize on behalf of the station. We're working on it right now to get things up and going and unplanned. This is what happens with live anything, but live radio as well.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else? Do you have another story besides
one more story.
the turtle? Yes. Tell us the story.
This one's about a burglar.
Yes.
Okay. And this one is from Florida.
It is
where
from
I thought
Florida.
the first one was from as well.
Yes.
A man walked into a jewelry store and grabbed a handful of diamonds and then ran out of the store into his car and made his getaway. And he would have been successful only if he had fixed his tail light. They're just teasing us now. They're just teasing us.
Yes.
And so a policeman pulled him over because he had a broken tail light. And then they saw his face and they realized this was the burglar. Because, CCTV, they knew he stole it. But when they checked his car,
yes,
they checked his pockets and everything on him, there were no diamonds.
Yes.
So while he was in the police car being driven. Goodness.
Yes, driven.
Something name.
Yes.
Okay, being driven to the police station.
Yes.
He muttered to himself, I should have thrown him out the window. So this gave the police a hint at where it was. And thus began a 2-week waiting game that no police officer signed up for.
Oh, no.
They had to patiently recover each diamond or each earring one by one. So talk about a rocky road. Imagine being the poor officer assigned to track this guy's valuable deposits.
Yes. Wow.
Hope they got hazard pay because this is not the kind of mine anyone wants to dig through. So they were really diamonds in the rough. That's enough. That was 6 puns in a row there.
Yes. So, well, thank you for bringing us some amazing stories. And I know many people are really kind of shocked right now. Kotarnim, unplanned blackout, but it's, they're so happy to, hear us. RB saying, it's a blackout? I thought you guys did it on purpose. No.
Maybe we should do it on purpose on October 31st.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But we are actually going to go to a song break right now. And Vasana, thank you so much for bearing with us.
Thank
and
you.
of course, the listeners as well. 알 수 없는 인생 by 이문세.
난 다시 누군가를 사랑할 테죠. 알 수 없는 인생이라도 아름답죠. 언젠간 내 사랑 찾겠죠. 언젠간 내 인생도 웃겠죠. 그렇게 기대하며 살겠죠. 그런 대로 괜찮아요. 아직도 많은 날이 남았죠. 난 다시 누군가를 사랑할 테죠. 알 수 없는 인생이라도 아름답죠.
All right, everybody. I wish we had the full shot because Vasana and Haley are literally like holding up the lights up to my face so you can see me. And I want to wish you a very safe weekend. Once again, I apologize on behalf of what's happening right now with the lighting. Hopefully they'll have it up and running for all the other programs here on BEFM. Wishing you nothing but the best for the weekend. And of course, once again, a big shout out to our producer, Cho Yoon-jin, our writers, Haley, Annie, Haley, once again, Haley, and also Vasana. Final song is 세 사람 by Toy featuring Sung Shigyun because there's three of us right now. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.
정말 잘 어울려 오랜 내 친구들 축하해. 기억나는지 우리 처음 만난 날 새로운 꿈 시작된 3월의 캠퍼스 어쩌면 그때 나는 알았나 봐. 너 때문에 웃고 울게 될 나를 20살 우리 여름날의 멜로디 가슴 속에 늘 숨쉬는 풍경 하나 내 친구 처음 소개하던 날 뭔가 달라 보이던 너의 표정 넌 시작이었나 봐. 둘만의 비밀이 닮아있는 말투가 친구라는 슬픈 말이 날 멈추게 만들어 말할 수 없는 나의 고백 용기를 낼 수 없던 수많은 날 너의 연인은 내 오랜 친구. 축복의 노래 꽃잎은 날리며 눈부신 너의 모습 얼마나 예쁠까. 매일 연습했던 말이지.
부산의 축제 어디까지 즐겨보셨나요? 과거와 현재, 미래가 공존하는 항구도시 부산. 이곳 부산은 계절을